Like,
yeah,
fuck
I would let her. I would say, let me drive you to your house. You know, that's the least you can do for arresting her on like less than a gram of weed, honestly. So she and I think she actually passed the drug test also, right? So she barely walks out of this camera's field of view, and right after she does, a police car drives out and drives. You can kind of see that, like, the rate she was walking, the police car would have passed her. So the theory, and her body was actually found, I think, 10 years later. So in a section of the woods that only the police knew existed, because they looked there, they frequented there often for some reason, I don't really know, but they went there often, and only the police really knew it existed. And that's where her body was found, and her last moments of anyone, the last, like, you know, confirmed moments of her being alive caught on camera or like seen by anybody, like her last moments of, you know, either a person or a camera catching her being alive is a camera in a police car driving right past her. So the theory, like, it's kind of like a conspiracy theory, you could say, because that's all the evidence there is, other than how poorly the police were treating her and how extra it was. And also this was a while back, but it's not like the police suddenly in 2020 became racist, okay? So even though we're not in, it wasn't this current political climate, you know, it's still very likely that the police a police officer killed her and then dumped her body in that spot in the woods that only the police know about.
Because it's pretty much like, I see what you're saying.
I mean, there's always a chance, but you know, the evidence points to it. But there's obviously not. The evidence can point to something, but there's not enough, you know, innocent before
to make something.
Which most of the time, that's a good thing. Like I'd say a solid 80% of the time that's a innocent until proven guilty is a good thing. But there's a lot of time where pretty guilty people. I mean, it could be innocent, but they're most likely guilty. You know, like. They can't be, you know, they can't even be tried.
What?
But there's some crazy, I'm not gonna lie, there are some crazy stories, like, there's this highway called the Highway of Tears, where, like, over the past 20 years alone, 30 something, women have gone missing on.
Yeah, that's definitely a fucking drug trafficking ring thing going on. That's all I can say.
Actually, I think 8 of the bodies were found and they were dead. So people wonder if there's like it's one serial killer, it's just a bunch of one-offs, or maybe it's multiple serial killers, a little bit of both. You know, like you never know, man.
You really never know.
Stuff's crazy. Most of the time, the police are not your friends. It's more likely that they aren't if you're black, but even if you're white, the police got enough. I'm gonna be 100%. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and try and be like, oh, it's equal. I have equal risk if as a white person. No, you know. But also, if the police are, you know, that desperate to prove someone guilty, it doesn't. They're not. It doesn't matter if you're white. You're not 100% safe.
Right. I mean, because that 17-year-old dude shit,
example,
bro. That's And they never.
And there's more of them. I'm not gonna tell you all the stories, but there's a ton more of them where someone is tried for being guilty, like this wife that got
yeah, I was about to say, tell me one more though, because this is, I mean, it's pretty interesting.
Okay. Well, so a wife and a husband. This one I actually heard the entire. This one I actually heard the entire thing, so I can tell you the whole thing. So, wife and husband, right? They're sleeping. They're okay. As a, you know, they have 3 kids and one is still a baby. So he sleeps in a crate, not a crate, but a cradle. What is it? The little baby holding thing in their room. Okay, like a baby bed in their room, right?
Yeah.
So crib. The crib. Yeah. Okay. So the 2 older, I think they're both boys, and the baby's a girl. Both the boys are like, oh, we want to camp out in the living room because, like, you know, you're a little kid. You know, what's the coolest place you can sleep? That, you know, what's
pretty much anywhere except
you can
your
sleep
room.
that isn't. anywhere but your room. So like, let's camp out in the living room. So the two boys fall asleep. The parents talk about some money issues that they're having, and a little bit, like, it's nothing like too crazy. And the wife, or no, the husband calls it a night and goes upstairs to sleep with where the baby is at in the crib, because you know the baby's up there. Someone's gonna sleep up there. The wife falls asleep on the couch, and they start out by explaining from the dad's point of view. The dad wakes up to the wife screaming. I can't remember if it was the dad's name or one of the kids' name, but she screams one of their names, right? And he comes, running downstairs as you would, and what he finds is his two sons bloody on the floor, and his wife in a panic. So the first thing he does is he sees that one of them, he goes to the nearest one, and he starts trying to do, he starts doing compressions on their chest, right? But then the second he breathes, because one was still, was alive, right, at the time. He starts doing compressions on his chest, but then the second he breathes into his mouth, because like you do like a bunch of compressions and you breathe in to like give him air, blood comes squirting out of his chest into the air, like
one of his sons.
Pretty done. Yes, one of his sons. Like pretty fucking tragic experience, right?
Right.
And so then they say that the police are called, and they play the recording of the police on the phone call between the wife is the one who calls the police. The phone call between the wife and the lady that's on the phone. The person that answers the phone. She says basically she's like in hysterics, like, oh, they're bleeding, we need help, call an ambulance, one of them's still alive. And then basically right at the end of the call she goes, oh, I'm bleeding. And then the phone call, and she's like, and then the phone call ends or something like that. Paramedics arrive on scene, and they can't save the one that's alive. He's dead. So both sons are dead, right? Wife has a cut. She's cut on her neck, and she had stab wounds on her arms. Okay. So, this wasn't talked about in the podcast, but Mom brought up a good point because she's a paramedic. She used to work on an ambulance. She wasn't always, in a hospital, working in a hospital. She says that when paramedics arrive on scene, they don't care about a crime scene. Their whole goal is to save someone's life, right? So it is very likely that they corrupted the crime scene. So keep that in mind while I tell you everything else that goes on.
Okay.
Oh, one thing I forgot. On the police phone call, the wife finds a bloody knife and picks it up, and then the police responder says, don't pick up the knife, and she goes, oh no, I've ruined evidence, haven't I? Okay?
That's what the wife said?
So, remember, yes. Because her fingerprints are now on it, the knife's been moved, all of that, believe it or not, can be used all be used. Like, surprisingly, there's a lot of, like, stuff you think wouldn't matter, like, if it's moved or something, that can be used as evidence. It can help solve the crime. So, the police show up on the scene, right? The first thing they notice is that the knife where it was, there's no blood on the ground, right? So it doesn't look like someone came in, killed them, and ran out. But, so that's sketched to them. And the wife, her neck wound required that she had surgery. So she was in surgery, so she wasn't able to give her account. You later find out, I'll explain everything she saw. But the police had to wait 3 days.
What? Oh my god.
And after that, the police immediately think they know who they have. They are so convinced it's the wife who did it. Okay? Now, that might sound crazy, like a wife killing your kids, but there are cases where
there's plenty of fucked up shit like that. Casey Anthony, you ever heard of that one? It's infamous. So. Basically, lady took her baby into the woods and pretty much tortured it and strung it up or some shit, and then I don't know, she did like a lot of fucked up shit to her. I don't know if it was a newborn. I don't really remember, but she killed her own newborn baby in the woods and like pulled it up on a tree or some shit like that. I don't know, doing some demonic shit with it. I don't know, it was really fucked up. Anyway,
that is crazy.
Yeah, that's just one example. I know what you mean.
So okay, so the wife, so they're so convinced it's the wife, and this is why. Their argument is there was a window, and the window had like the fencing on it, and apparently like the little like black like thin fencing. The police's argument is the fencing was cut into, and apparently it's pretty well known that most like people don't cut into the grating, they pop it off.
Yeah.
I don't know why. That's okay, sure. I mean, what's the difference if you're going in there to murder people? There's going to be evidence left. Like,
right.
You're not
like,
going in there
cares?
yoinking some stuff and dipping back out, trying to leave as little evidence. You're
going in there to fucking murder somebody.
This sounds like pretty this sounds pretty cut and clean, but just wait till the end. It gets crazy right at the end, right? So the grating was cut into. The knife looks like it was planted. There was blood in the sink to maybe make it look like. So the blood in the sink makes them think that the wife used the knife and inflicted her own wounds, right? Which has happened before. Makes sense, right? So they're arguing that the neck wound was not deep enough to kill, and they think that it was so shallow that she did it to herself. And also the arm wounds look like they were inflicted. But so they and so the wife's account is that she woke up to her son, the one that I'm assuming was probably the one that was still alive at the time when her husband showed up.
Yeah, but then he
grabbed her
was
arm and was like, grabbed her arm and woke her up, right? And she sees this, and she says there was a guy there, you know, because she's not gonna. So she says
if
that
it was
he
her,
stabbed
she
her. She
obviously
tried to
wouldn't
defend
admit to
herself.
it.
She tried to defend herself, and she got stabbed in her arm. I think she got stabbed in her arm is what she says, and she gets cut in her neck, right? Then he runs away, I guess. I think probably because she screamed the husband's name, he ran or something. I don't know. Basically, she says then he was like walking away, and she tried to follow him, and that's why like the police are really caught up on this wine glass that got knocked over, right? And this is why I say remember that the paramedics were there.
Yeah.
Because the blood, there was no blood. There was blood under the wine glass. So what they think is that if the wine glass fell, if she knocked over the wine glass, why was there blood? Why wasn't there any blood over it? Because the kids were nowhere near it, right? It was her blood under the wine glass. So how, if she knocked it over, did she not? Why was there no blood? Wait, I think I might be mixing up. I think the blood was over the wine glass and there was none under it. Basically, it made it look like it helped support the idea that it was staged. They go to court. They have. I think there was some other evidence. Basically, there was a lot of evidence, and while I was listening to this, I was pretty convinced it was the wife. Right? I'm like, this is pretty cut, dry, clean wife. Okay, got it. Right? But she's tried for being guilty. This is where they get. I think they intentionally set it up to make you think that it was the wife and all that, and then they just like how the police thought.
Yeah.
Not even that, but just they help you understand the police's like thought process, I guess, and stuff like that. And then they give you a whole bunch of other evidence. First off, the neck wound. The neck wound was 1 millimeter away from being fatal. Okay? 1 millimeter. You know how small a millimeter is, okay?
Very.
That is small. Okay? You don't self-inflict a wound so deep that you are that close to a neck wound. You don't know that. You don't know how deep to go. Second, her necklace was so deeply embedded into the wound that it was part of the surgery. They had to surgically remove the parts of the necklace. Okay? Now, I think I might have actually told you the story long. I think she got cut on her neck while she was laying down still. And that's why the necklace was in the wound. If she was standing over a sink, the necklace was dangling, right? She wouldn't, you know, cut herself with the necklace, you know, in the way. And the arm wounds, dude, she was bruised and beaten, and it looked like she had been thrown to the ground and tossed around a little bit, okay? Like, no way she did it to herself, okay? Like, the wounds are, they call them superficial, when the wounds are, like, self-inflicted. Okay? There's no way these wounds are superficial, okay? Like, no decent, like, no like person with common sense
Does
would
that
logically look at that and think they were superficial.
okay?
Then,
I could use that.
So then
sorry, I was in a fight.
you got intense, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm
feel
on a
you.
bloodthirsty right now, and I need those because of the challenges. So, kind of focus up every time I get around 3 kills. So, the wife. So the wounds aren't superficial. The wine glass, my mom says, was probably knocked over by the paramedics because they're trying to, you know, do stuff. So there's no evidence that she knocked over the wine glass. All this, that, and that. Another thing, a piece of evidence I forgot was actually, you know, pretty convincing to me, was that there was no sign of a break-in other than the window being cut in. Oh yeah, I completely forgot two of the biggest pieces of evidence. Sorry. So part of when she went to trial, they tested a knife. The knife that was used, one of the other knives that were like in the cutting block, the same block that the knife was taken from, and found that it had pieces of like fiberglass or whatever, basically the material that's used for the window grating. So like obviously, how does someone who breaks in, grabs a knife, and then breaks out using that? You know, like they can't break in using a knife that was inside the house. So that's why that's why they're so convinced it was someone in the house, right? And the husband was upstairs. There's no way they think it's the husband. There's a lot of evidence supporting it. Even the wife herself says her husband was upstairs. And so then the other thing is that there is no evidence of footsteps around the windows. Because there was mulch by their windows, the police said, and there were no footprints indicating by the window or any of the windows in the house saying that someone came in from the outside. So there's absolutely zero evidence that someone came in from the outside, right? And it's so they try it for the wife. Then it comes. So then later, when a private investigator is hired, a couple of things come out. Okay. First of all of the knives in apparently a private investigator analyzes all the knives that were in that cutting block, and all of them had fiber mesh material. Okay, and they were so insignificant that could be from anything, not necessarily grading. So obviously the wife didn't use all, you know, maybe like I don't know how many knives, but like our knife block has like I think like 10 knives, 11, 12, maybe like a dozen. No way she just took a dozen knives and cut up the material with a dozen knives, okay?
Right.
So that doesn't make sense. That's not adding up. Then also the mulch that the police say there was no evidence of footprints was away from the window. So it wasn't right up against the window saying that the only way someone could climb in through the window was if they stepped on the mulch. The mulch was kind of away. So they could have gotten into the window without leaving a trail. And, you know, hopefully, I mean, I would assume most burglars would know to avoid that mulch probably. So that disproves that chunk of evidence. Then the what was it? I already told you about the wine glass. That could have been knocked over by anyone, anything, all that. Crime scenes get messed up by paramedics. And the wife's wounds were definitely not superficial, okay? There's like no way she self-inflicted those. You don't cut yourself in the neck. If you cut yourself in the neck, it's going to be pretty shallow. You don't cut yourself a millimeter away from death, okay?
Right.
And if you're doing it standing up, there's no way your neck over a sink where the blood was. There was blood in the sink. There's no way the neck gets caught in the stabbing. Only if you're laying down. No one's gonna cut. So that disproves their whole idea of her cutting herself up. And then this is the real kicker. The husband has been found to fake like theft before or something like that. Like he's faked something to get like money for it. Like he gets his car, he's had his car stolen, and then he'll get the money back for it, and he'll get like the insurance or whatever, and then he gets his car back, you know. And then he splits the cut with whoever he hired people to fake theft before. And here's the thing: when the husband tries to get a higher tier lawyer, you know, like a better lawyer than the wife had, the lawyer says, I'll have to bring up your criminal record, like the fact that he's done this before, because he's been caught for it.
He's been caught for,
faking car thefts, faking he's faked himself getting mugged, stuff like that, right?
Why? What the hell?
For money, you know? His wife, another thing is that they're, you know, the issue of money came up, and they were like 8,000 in debt, which is like not that much in debt. That's not that much if you were being 100%.
Right.
It's not that much. That's really not like.
Could be worse.
My mom was like astonished that was even an argument point that the police used, and I'm assuming mom knows a little bit more about debt than my 16-year-old self with $100 to my name knows. So basically, he does this to get money and the insurance and stuff like that, and he splits a cut. And there were, I think there was like someone that said there was a possibility that he had talked to someone about faking a robbery. Okay, so faking a robbery, you know, there's a lot of stories about robberies going wrong and someone getting killed. You know, it happens. Now the robbery gets faked. Oh, one thing in the wife's journal says, I apologize. And she had this like diary thing, and it said, I apologize for what I'm about to do. Okay. So the police immediately think that's her killing her kids. You know, I mean, that makes sense. That was another thing that was pretty big. You know, saying like I'm apologizing for what I'm about to do. Like, but that could be anything. That could be her cheating. That could be her killing her kids, or that could be her knowing that her husband's going to fake a robbery, you know, and all that. So the husband, when he finds out the lawyer has to bring this up in court, he gets a cheaper lawyer. He turns down that lawyer and gets a cheaper lawyer. When the wife finds this out, the wife's in jail right now, or in prison, and they're divorced.
They divorced over this?
She found out her husband was doing this and all that. So the theory that the people give, which there's no, which is honestly, I say there's a good chance that this isn't right. You know, unlike the 17-year-old one, I think that there's a good chance that this could be wrong. But I think it has an equal amount of chance of it being the actual thing, what happened, as there is that the wife actually killed her kids. Because there's equal evidence pointing both ways, I would say, and like you could argue both sides, right? But here's the so the husband, between the husband getting a cheaper lawyer, the theory is that the husband hired a robbery, a guy to fake a robbery, and it went wrong because maybe the guy wasn't expecting the people to be in the living room, and he killed them or something. I don't really know, but the one thing I find really wrong with that is if someone's a robber for hire. The only reason why I think that I think this is probably what happened, but the reason why there's a bit of doubt in my mind is because there's like two things that don't add up to me. If the person that was faking the robbery found that they were in the living room, why did he kill them? There's no way he's gonna get his money out of it. He's throwing unnecessary shade on himself. Just leave, you know? You're not robbing that because you absolutely need to. You're not like, you're for hire, you know? If you're gonna kill the dude's wife and kids, you're not gonna get your money's worth out of it, you know?
Yeah.
And second, why did the dad let them stay in the living room? Also, nothing was stolen. So, but nothing being stolen could be just chalked up to because the guy, you know, killed them and then panicked and left and didn't steal anything because, like, why? If it's a robbery for hire, why would you steal anything after you've killed them? Because you're definitely not going to go to the husband and be like, yeah, I know you killed your wife and kids, but can I still get my check now?
Right.
You know, like, that's not happening, okay? But I think that's definitely I think there's more evidence pointing to it being a robbery for hire than there is the wife actually doing it. Because after you negate all the evidence, there was actually really no evidence pointing to the wife. There was more evidence pointing to the wife not doing it than there was. Because all the evidence the police used was proven false by private investigators. And if it wasn't proven false, the only thing that wasn't proven false was the superficial wounds, which actually, I'm saying this wrong. They were proven false. Not only that, they were proven to definitely be done by somebody other than her. So you could say maybe it was the husband, maybe it was a burglar, but all I know is it definitely wasn't the wife, and the police arrested her off stuff that any common police officer, like, police officers, like, I don't think these police officers were stupid. I think they were so desperate and so convinced that they had their person that they were overlooking the facts. And I don't even think, if not that, then I think they intentionally overlooked it to just have a confirmed case. Because I think there's something about the more cases the police, the better ratio they have of solved versus unsolved cases, the better funding police, the better funding places, police stations.
It's all for money.
So, oh, I have a missed call. What the? Oh, 15 minutes ago. Hold on, I'm about to call this.
Alright.
This is your champion.
The good news is that with me, at least it will be over quick.
Well, well, well.
For science.
For science.
Okay, well I called it back and I didn't get a response, so I just put it on max. I put my ringer on max. Just gonna hold, and I'll hear if she calls.
Who was it on Baker?
Hostile right here.
Shit aim. Oh my god, kid.
Okay, I'm 20 weapon level 24 out of 55 on the 65. Oh my god, I need double XP, man. Where's the double XP at, man? Ugh. Thanks. Yellow!
Reload. Let's explore this way.
I'm gonna go get Yellow. Reloading. I'm gonna ask her if mom called you.
What a dumbass. What a literal fucking idiot. It's fucking pathetic.
New kill leader. Go on, watch out. Heal it up.
I need help.
There is a new kill leader. I need shields. Go on now, say hello. Watch my back, pals. There's a new kill leader.
Unless you, I'm not lying for you, Yella. Not anymore. Only because it's for your own good.
What she do? What she do?
What'd you say, Liela?
What she do?
Okay. Dude, she's really behind in her school.
Oh, for real?
If I keep lying to mom, she just won't do it. So I'm only doing it for her own good. I mean,
Nah, I feel you.
You know, like, I mean, I'm behind too. Not that bad.
Can't be having her little ass cutting up.
I mean, yeah, she's literally has her phone taken. She's reading a book. Like, instead of just, she's saying her head hurts. Which, I mean, I guess that's like fair, but like, you know, you could maybe you wouldn't even be doing with work right now if you weren't behind.
Right.
Mom's mad. Like, oh, she's mad. So.
What, Liela? Yeah, man.
Yes.
Well, Liela, her ass is cutting up, huh?
Mom knows, and I'd be scared myself, but mom knows I'm like kind of behind, and I'm gonna make it up. Like, she knows I have like an F, but that's awful late. You know, like every grade that is in the grade book is an A for me, except for like a couple B's here and there. But like in any class, if you look at it, I have A's and then like F's. I'm doing like double the work. I'm doing like double the work a day than what I'm expecting. So I even probably after my time runs up, just trying to get caught up rather than just mindlessly watching YouTube and
Just giving my shield a recharge.
Bro, I need some other people to get Cold War other than Joey, dude. Cause all Joey plays is zombies. Like, I don't even think he's played a multiplayer
Let's
match
bring
yet.
out mate Tom.
Maybe, I'm sure he probably has played like a game or something.
Don't worry,
Other
I'm
than-
taking fire. Care package, drop it. Recharging my shields.
Oh my god, there's like 3 of them, dude. Come on. Come on. I definitely much prefer the time to kill in this game. Much faster than Modern Warfare. Modern Warfare is slow. Oh, you know what?
Not much I
I
can
could
do there.
stream. And
I'm
you could,
streaming right now.
see the COD. Oh wait, for real? How much of that did you stream?
Oh, not too long. Like, I didn't get the whole 17-year-old story, even though that's what made me like, damn, I should be streaming this shit, cause we was talking about some deep shit, and then I got a little bit at the end there though. But I mean, I don't know if you didn't want me to stream that shit or not, but I thought it was a good conversation. So
it's fine. I just don't think I would have put Leo on blast if I known. But it's not that big of a deal.
nah.
1 viewer.
Fucking no
Dude,
views
you're
actually.
old.
I have no views right now. What are you talking about? I have fucking no views.
Well, you know what? I'll start a stream, and if you want, you can like have it playing. And
No, I will.
I'm probably gonna, cause I'm feeling like playing a zombies match, and you can see what it
Say
looks
less.
like.
Alright, hold on. Let me go get some food real quick. If anyone does happen to watch the stream in the future, just fucking fast forward. Alright, let me just mute real quick.
Yes, got the 5. Let's go, baby. Let's go. No.
Disconnected because of activity. Cap a lot. Captastic. Capo. Captain Cap a lot. Buddy left the fucking party. That's pretty cool. Okay, stream. I'm gonna end it here. Be better, do better. Fucking bums.